When your team doesn't have the ball, you're trying to get the ball back from the other team. Your job is to try and defend your player, but also try and get the ball back, and you can do that by throwing a series of checks. Some checks are legal, some checks are illegal. We're going to go over which ones are which and try and set you up with some checks that will allow you to get the ball back for your team. First of all, if you throw a check, you're allowed to check the other player's stick, and you're allowed to check the other player's hands if his hands are on the stick. You can check his arms, but you've got to make it as if you were trying to get to his stick in the process. If the other player drops their free hand off the stick, you are not allowed to check that free hand. You must make an attempt to come around and get on the stick. So throwing checks, they must be thrown on the stick or on the hands that are holding the stick. Checks that are illegal are slash. And a slash would be any check that's brought back from here with too much velocity. So when you throw a check, you want to throw it from a closer and shorten your stroke to here instead of throwing your check from back here. The reason is, one, you're likely to get a penalty, which is illegal, but when you throw a check from back here, you take yourself out of good body position for playing defense. So when you throw a check, you want to be in good body position, feet shoulder width apart. You want to be on your man, and as you're D'ing him up, you want to throw your check by swinging the stick head around and trying to generate velocity at the top of his stick or across the shaft. Okay? There's a series of checks that you can throw that are going to be more effective. One is to put your bottom hand on his hip and come around this way. Once you do that, if he moves his stick back, put your stick out. If you try and come over the top, this is an over-the-head check, it's very risky. Some coaches do not like you to throw an over-the-head check because as you go over the head, you expose yourself to an offensive move. So the over-the-head check is something that you've got to be very careful with, but it is an effective check. You can drop one hand off the stick and throw a check like this, where you let go of one hand, come around this way, but again, any check you throw is going to put you defensively at risk. Some coaches prefer you not to throw any checks and just play good, solid defense. Other checks that are illegal, you're not allowed to hit the head at all. So anything that makes a clang on the helmet is illegal. That's one reason offensive players carry their stick up high. Checks that are illegal is a cross check, where you use the shaft of your stick on the player. This is a cross check. You can get away with it if your hands are together and you're pushing on the hip, but as soon as your hands are apart, this is a cross check. Slashing is when you hit him anywhere other than the stick. If you hit him in the knee, ankle, shoulder, and you're not trying to get, that's slashing. Another good check is as you come in to defend somebody, you get your stick in between his body and the stick, and then you push this way so that it breaks the stick from his hand. So it's insert the stick in and lift it out that way. Another check that's very effective is called the lift check, and it's when you get your stick underneath the player's bottom hand and lift his hand up, which turns the stick head down and drops the ball. Once the ball comes out, you want to quickly step in and get body position so that you're there to scoop the ball from the other player. In addition, if he is in passing and throwing or shooting motion and you can't reach his stick, what you want to do is check his hand and put as much pressure on it as you can, which will take velocity and accuracy off of the pass or the shot. So it's the bottom hand that you can reach. You can go ahead and put your stick on it. You can't hold it for a long period of time, but you can put it there right as he's about to shoot. So the timing of your checks is also very important.
Playing great defense is mainly about your footwork, but all the top-notch defensemen have a variety of checks at their disposal. The first one we're going to demonstrate, and probably the most popular, is the simple poke check. A poke check gets its name because it looks like you're poking someone, and it's simply poking it and delivering it. The time you most likely are going to use this is when an attackman or a midfielder brings his stick in front of his face, either for a face dodge or a split dodge. But there's things that you have to be cautious about when you throw this check. The thing you don't want to do is put all your weight into the check and lunge forward. If I'm throwing my poke check like this, you can see all my weight's forward, and if I don't dislodge the ball, the attackman's going to run right by me, and I won't have the ability to drop step and catch up in time to prevent him from getting a shot. So make sure when you're throwing the poke check, you throw it, and when he makes a move in front of his face, you throw it towards the torso. If you go up too high, you're going to get a hitting in the head, a high hit, And if you throw too low, you're likely to get a tripping penalty. So make sure when you deliver this check, your feet, you're light on your feet, your weight is balanced. It's not tops heavy at the attackman. You're light on your feet, you're balanced, and you deliver it right to the middle of his shaft. If you can learn the basic fundamentals and become a great poke checker, you take away a lot of the options of great dodging attackmen.